up, everybody? Wild Whiskey Wolf, and today I wanted to share with you guys a mod that I think every ZX10R owner should have. This is an essential ZX10R mod for the bike. In fact, I think that any motorcycle rider can benefit from this mod, but just since we're concentrating on this ZX10 build, I really wanted to bring it up to all the ZX10 owners out there. So diving right into it, if we come to the front of the bike and take a look at the rotors, you can see they can move. And what this setup is called is a floating rotor setup. We got it done on both sides, as you can see. The other one moves as well. And what this does in the floating rotor setup compared to the stock setup where the rotors, they can move, but it's a very, very tiny amount. This is a full floating setup, so the rotor can move around a lot more. And what that does is it decreases resistance when you're accelerating, and it also increases the brake effectiveness when you get hard on the brakes. So if you like getting hard on those front brakes, or you want some more acceleration, this mod does both of those things. And that's why I say that this is a mod that any superbike rider should consider, because there's really no downsides at all to this mod. You can use the OEM rotors and just buy these buttons right here. And what that does is that will convert your setup on the ZX10 into a floating rotor setup. Or you can go out and you can buy floating rotors that are already put together. I think Brembo comes to mind right off top. They make a set of floating rotors for the ZX10. Those are going to be a lot more expensive. So, just take that into consideration if you're thinking about doing this mod. But the floating rotor setup, man, this thing it's awesome. When you get hard on the brakes, there's absolutely, no mushiness at all. The OEM setup kind of feels a little bit mushy. And when you get this floating rotor set up and you come into a turn and you get on those brakes, you just feel that bite instantly. And it's because the rotors are now able to float. They're able to move around. So they're able to get in contact with the brake pad much faster, because they can move with the shape of the brake pad. And over time, brake pads, the shape of them changes. So floating rotors, man, this is a fantastic mod. And then when you're accelerating, when you have those rotors that don't move around a lot, they tend to rub on the brake pad a lot more, and it causes a little bit of resistance. So when you have the floating rotor set up and you accelerate, you get much less resistance. So that equals a smoother acceleration, a faster acceleration, all around positives. So this is a really, really good mod. I highly recommend it to everyone. And then also a really cool thing about this mod is you're gonna have to replace your brake pads less often with the floating rotor setup than without one, because your rotors and brake pads are not going to be rubbing as much against each other. There's overall less resistance all around. So you get better braking, you get better acceleration, and you're not going to have to replace your brake pads as much. That's why I say this is an essential mod. This is a great mod for your super sport bike or your ZX10. And just to do a little comparison, this is a CBR 600 track build I'm working on, and these do not have floating rotors. And you can see if I try to move the rotor, it doesn't move at all. So it's pretty stiff. And then go back over here, you can see it's got that movement in it. So that's what gives it that full floating rotor setup. So there you go, guys. That's the essential mod video I was gonna show you all. And if you have any questions about this, anything about the install or setup or anything like that, drop a comment down below in the comments section, and I'll see you guys around.